All right, everybody, welcome to the Paul Goff Show. We are beaming live around the world, wherever you are. Welcome. Come and join us. Say hello on Facebook. Say hello on Instagram, YouTube, and the podcast where this will end up, and in various other places and any other place we can distribute this content. Hello and welcome to the Paul Goff Show. We have an incredible guest today. I'm going to bring on in just a moment. This guy, I'm going to tease it. I'm going to tease you. This guy is responsible for millions and millions of dollars having been made in the physical therapy and just wider rehab, chiropractic, injury clinic practice profession over the last 12 months. And I'm going to tell you the story of him and what he's achieved and how you can get in on a slice of that. If you are listening to us, and it's before October 23rd of 2025, PPM Live is an incredible event that we run every year. It's our next big event. It's the gathering of the smartest, brightest minds of the Planet Paul community. We're going to meet again in Orlando. It's the 4th annual Marketing and Sales Super Conference. You are invited to it. Head over to ppmlive25.com. We sell out every year. More than 1,000 clinic owners have gone to this event, and we have some incredible guests, celebrity speakers. This year is going to be mega. We've got things to talk about that need fixing inside the clinics, including how do you get concierge and get in on high profit concierge membership programs inside of your business, high value wellness services that we're going to talk to Stan about just in a moment, what's working now in marketing, how to make profit from workshops, how to implement AI into your business to make money and find time inside of that business. And most importantly of all, the most important reason to be at an event, as always, is the people that you meet when you get there. We attract the smartest business owners, the ones who are looking to exit the insurance system and grow and scale a cash practice. And if you are a cash practice, we have a very special focus this year on how do you scale a cash practice without it being dependent upon you. We've got many people in our ecosystem now who are doing very well in cash pay services. They're finding the new problem is it's all dependent upon them. So special focus to that crowd of our followers at this year's event as well. So that's it from me, the housekeeping. I'm going to bring on a very special guest who I love and appreciate his humor and his energy and his enthusiasm, his sincerity. I'm very lucky to partner with lots of businesses around the world and get equally many more requests to do so. And we always take people for their, let's call it their genuineness and their sincerity and their genuine devotion to the team and to the wider community that we serve. And this guy is the epitome of all of that. And to me, that's more important than any product he offers or any thing else that he does. So let me give a lovely warm welcome all the way from California. I'm currently in Hartlepool in the northeast of England. So we are about, 12,000 miles away from each other. Stan, welcome to the...
A long way.
Long way. So Stan is from the most beautiful part of... Is it Palm Springs you're from, Stan?
It is, and I will agree with you. It's a beautiful part 9 months out of the year. It's going to be... in our numbers, about 115 degrees today. I don't know what it is in your thing.
That would be 40-ish in our numbers. Yeah.
Incredibly hot. Yeah.
Well, Stan, this is what I love about life. Stan is in this most beautiful Californian Palm Springs, and I'm in the northeast of England, the mecca of illegal immigration in the United Kingdom right now. It is definitely nothing like what's going on in the beautiful Palm Springs area of California. I love how Stan mentioned 9 months of the year that it's beautiful. We get about 9 days of the year here in the northeast of England. But Stan made the trip all the way from California to Hartlepool and had a 2-day epic experience of Hartlepool. And maybe we will dig into that. I took him to my local soccer or football club, as we call it here, Hartlepool United, for an event that I did here. So we'll talk about that and many other things. But Stan, give us an introduction to you. Tell people about yourself. Why should they listen to you and sort of your story to get here now, where you are one of the major players in the profession, helping people finally exit the crap tip insurance system and go make a little bit of money for themselves and not be beholden to insurance companies.
Yeah, so thank you very much for inviting me on today. And you're absolutely right. I mean, to run a business and be beholden to insurance companies who truly dictate, here's who you can see, here's how many times you're allowed to see them, and by the way, here's all we're going to pay you. And yeah, it is a little bit less or possibly a little bit more, but usually a little bit less than we paid you last year. So instead of that, you've really been harnessing the power of workshops to help your clients and prospective clients understand, if you can create yourself as a local expert, and if you can find some niches out there, and if you truly do have the desire and the ability to help a patient population, the sky is the limit. And it's interesting because one of the patient populations that we identified for these workshops is diabetic neuropathy. And for any of you that know anybody that has been suffering with diabetes, and it's not going away, it is an ever increasing market. It's a huge market. And I like to say it's a really frustrated patient population, because many of them, for years, they've been told by their primary care physician, who has referred them to an endocrinologist to try to help manage that diabetes, and they've referred them to a neurologist to help with the nerve damage issues. All three of those practitioners typically tell that patient, sorry, Bob, but I got nothing for you.
Yeah.
They end up putting them on a drug. The rule of thumb is they start them out on gabapentin, and they keep upping the dose of gabapentin. And interestingly, talk about timing, a study was released 2 weeks ago that links gabapentin to increased incidence of dementia. And so it's interesting. Ricky Morgan, one of your clients, one of my clients, was doing a workshop last month. And the way we try to help people understand how powerful a room filled with people suffering with similar conditions can be, I tell them, first thing you want to do, go around the room, find out who's there and why they're there. And so this guy in the back of the room stands up. He goes, hi, my name is, and he goes, I had chemo 5 years ago. And as a result of the chemo, I developed neuropathy. Yeah. And they put me on gabapentin. And over the years, they keep upping the dosage. He said, I'm in construction. I was driving home from the workplace last Thursday in my pickup truck, and I dozed off. He said, I came this close to catastrophe. He said, fortunately, I came to and nothing bad happened, but he said, it was this close, and I am sick of living my life like this.
Let's go back up a little bit, right? I love, and we're going to get into your technology, and we'll talk about all of the clinics that you've revolutionized over the last 12 months. Tell me about Stamp. How did this evolve? Like, where did you get the idea from for this? Because you rang me 12 months ago and said, look, I've got an idea. You've got workshops. I've got this technology. I can help a lot of people, but they need to know a bit more about it, right? So we merged together. Our workshops came along with your product. Great, right? We'll talk about that. Tell me about Stan. How did Stan get to that point? How has he got that idea? And where did this thing, now affectionately known in the Planet Paul community as Stimpod, where did it come from? Like, tell me a bit more about that.
Yeah, so Stimpod was actually invented by a company in South Africa 12 years ago is when it got its first approvals. And the original Stimpod, which is still in use today, it's not the one that we currently sell, but the original purpose of Stimpod was to help anesthesiologists in the operating room to determine the level of anesthesia and whether or not that anesthesia level was appropriate. Because obviously, if you're in surgery and you're under, they can't ask you, okay, Bob, does it still hurt? So Stimpod was developed as a way of monitoring, locating and monitoring nerves. 6 years ago, we got FDA approval to treat nerves. So now the Stimpod device that we have locates the nerve and treats the nerve. And it's unlike anything in the world, truly. It uses what's called pulsed RF energy. So it's funny, a lot of people will look at Stimpod, and I've got one here. This is actually what Stimpod looks like. Okay.
Yep.
At first glance, they look at it and they say, well, that looks like a TENS machine.
Yep.
And yeah, in certain respects, it looks like a TENS device. It's not a TENS device. It's actually a little radio station, if you will, that has been designed to sing nerve. There's a great doctor that we work with who's in his late 70s, fascinating guy. He's an MD. He's also a world-renowned acupuncturist. So he's this beautiful blend of traditional Western MD medicine and Eastern Oriental medicine. He learned about Stimpod a little over a year and a half ago, and the words out of his mouth, he said, Stimpod has revolutionized how I now practice medicine. And I love it because he keeps giving me these great analogies, one of which is, if you're having a bad day with your computer, okay, it's running really slow, it's acting up, you get super frustrated, you finally pick up the phone and you call tech support. What's the first thing they tell you to do? Reboot your computer.
Yeah.
Restart your modem.
Yeah.
Unplug the router. That's exactly what Stimpod does to the nerve.
I was thinking, what's the first thing that I do when I need to have a problem with the computer? It's
throw it.
Kick the thing, usually. So we're not advocating that we do that with our patients, of course. Maybe it's the staff. Maybe the staff, but not necessarily the clients. I love it. What was your what? Tell me about you a little bit. Let's go a little bit further back. What was your entry into all of this? Tell me a bit more. You're not allowed to talk about Stimpod. Tell me about Stan.
Yeah. So here's the Stan story.
Yep.
I have never had a job in my life.
I love it.
I have always been an idea guy.
Yep.
And fortunately, I came across enough of the good ones that helped pay for the stupid ones. Because as entrepreneurs, as you well know, sometimes you get a good one, sometimes you don't. And this is a good one. I had a video production company for 35 years. I traveled all over the world. My clients were the top hotels and resorts in the country, basically every place I like to go on vacation.
Tell me, come on then, if I'm listening, come on, who's the most famous person you've had on camera? You know what to say?
The most famous person I've had on camera, I've had a ton of them. Some of the ones that you would know, Terry Bradshaw. If you're, this is the real football. Not, I mean, I understand you guys call it football, but
I think we might have to disagree on the definition of real football. We actually kick the ball here in England.
So Terry Bradshaw, Terry Hatcher, those of you that used to watch Desperate Housewives. I took Terry. We were doing a humpback whale documentary. We shot half of it in Alaska, half of it in Hawaii. I took Terry and her daughter up to Alaska. We were out on the boat for 6 days. We took helicopter up to the glacier. We went on a dog sled adventure. I ended up selling this documentary. I licensed it to National Geographic. Do you remember Planet Earth?
Yes.
Okay. Was from your part of the world. I was so impressed with Planet Earth, I hired the writers of Planet Earth to write my whale documentary. I edited actually over in Wales. We got the guys who scored the film to score our documentary, and to throw another name, as you asked for, David Attenborough did the narration track for my film. So it was very cool. And then for those of you that are wine guys, the 5 most famous wineries in the world, they're referred to as the 5 first growth Bordeaux's. They're all my clients. This was 11 years ago, up in a helicopter, flying with the best aerial camera system in the world. This was before drones, so they still do it today, but you mount the camera system on the nose of a helicopter. And literally, I was flying. We landed the helicopter on the front lawn of Chateau Lafite Rothschild, picked up the president, flew for 20 minutes with him. dropped him off, flew over to Chateau Margaux, landed on the side lawn, picked up the owner of Chateau Margaux, flew beautiful video with her, landed. She invited us in for drinks. Just a little hint, if the owner of Chateau Margaux is inviting you in for drinks, you don't say no. So we went in for a quick drink. Then, so the bottom line is, I've had a lot of fun over the years. I've done a lot of things, but I can honestly say, of all the projects that I've done, the most rewarding one, not from a monetary standpoint, although it is also
yeah.
really from the standpoint of making me feel good. Because when we see what happens with these patients, with your clinics, and a lot of times these are patients that are really complex cases. And when Stimpod is able to take somebody who had a stroke 15 years ago, and all of a sudden they get more movement in their arm, there are some incredible stories of people that have had these long-standing issues. And it gets confusing because now we're doing so many different workshops. I forget if it was either Houston or it was one of the workshops we did. There was a veteran who was injured 20 years ago. And the story, and I'm probably mixing it up with something, but she hadn't been able to use her hand truly in 20 years. They did Stimpod with her. She had the biggest smile on her face. She was able to shake Dr. Collins' hand.
Yeah.
Everybody was in tears. It was the most remarkable story. And these are the kind of things we see every day when we do these workshops. And it's just been amazing. So that's a little bit about Stan.
I love it. Now let's get into what it does then and how. So I'm listening to this. I'm a private practice owner, and I think Stan is cool, and I'm loving these stories, and I'm keeping up. Where can I get involved? So I'm a practice owner now. I'm running an insurance-based clinic or a cash pay clinic, and I'm trying to add more margin. I'm trying to get some more revenue, but I don't want more patients. An insurance patient business doesn't need more patients, right? They need more profitability. Tell us what you came in. I did a quick estimation. I reckon I'm 10% in or out with what has probably been made in our the Planet Pol community since September last year when you came along. I know we're past 2 million, probably heading towards $3 million has been made across our community via workshops that involves your Stimpod and your services and Dr. Collins and you. And that's a lot of money that's been made. That in many cases is added, I think the highest that I know is at least $47,000 in one workshop sitting. And typically averages anywhere between $20,000 and $25,000 every time somebody runs an educational class to a population like diabetic neuropathy or whoever, which is a serious amount of money. And the best part of it all, obviously, is it's outside of the scope of traditional billing, so we can't be held to ransom by insurance companies or just squashed by the typical mindset of a patient when they think of PT and what they want to pay. Tell me more about that. What happens? How do I take your thing in your hand? How do I get it into the hands of 10 or 12, 15 patients every month? And what do I need to do? How much money am I going to make? How do I talk to my patients about it? How do I talk to my staff about it? How does Stimpod become part of our DNA inside of my business that can add a good chunk of cash to my business as well?
Yeah. So here, in a nutshell, the way we love to set up our clients is they typically will get a 6-pack of Stimpods. And part of that, and initially some people say, well, why do I need 6? I've only got 2 staff, or 3 staff, or sometimes literally it's only me. And so one of the amazing things with Stimpod is you can rent it out to your patient, because there are some of these chronic conditions that they need multiple treatments. This typically is not a one and done. So let's specifically talk about diabetic neuropathy. And whether it's diabetic neuropathy or chemo-induced neuropathy or idiopathic neuropathy, it's neuropathy, okay? They've got nerve damage. They've got lack of sensation or pain or tingling in their lower legs, in their feet, sometimes even in their hands. And so we want you to do a workshop. And for those of you that use PhysioFunnels, great. PhysioFunnels is going to help fill up those workshops. And we literally fly in to your clinic. So Dr. Collins, who you've met many times, great guy. He's actually a chiropractor. He's been a chiropractor for 25 years outside of New York City. He's in New Jersey. He works in his clinic Monday through Thursday. Pretty much every Thursday night, I have him on a plane headed to one of your clinics to spend all day Friday and now usually Saturday morning, side by side in the clinic. I'll give you a case in point example. In Austin, okay, one of your clients that I met was Jonathan Ruzicka. He's got a large clinic in Houston. At the Austin event, I didn't get to spend a lot of time with Jonathan, but hit it off at the end, and he left there with a Stimpod. Bottom line is, he told me, he said, I want to become your biggest client. I said, great, I'm going to hold you to that. So last week I did a Zoom with Jonathan on Monday because we were going to be doing his workshop Friday and Saturday. I reminded him of what he told me. He said, I remember it well. I said, if it will help, if you want me to, in addition to Dr. Collins flying in Thursday night, I will hop on a plane and fly down. He said, I would love that. So actually, I flew down to Houston Thursday night. So 8 o'clock Friday morning, Dr. Collins and I went over to Jonathan's clinic. First hour, we were just with him and his staff going through some of the specific, fine details of Stimpod, because he's been using it for a month and a half already with incredible results. Because I didn't tell you, one of the other things he told me as a result of Austin, he said, I'm going to try to prove that this doesn't work. He said, I am incredibly skeptical. I said, I love that. I said, those are the people that give me that much joy because I know exactly what will happen. And sure enough, he said, I tried to prove that this was a bunch of crap. He said, you got me. He said, this has been remarkable, and started rattling off patients. So bottom line, we're down there Friday. On workshop Friday, I tell the clients, schedule 10 or 15 of your most complex cases. Bring in patients that you haven't quite figured out how to make them as good as they can be. So he brought in some really tough cases. And again, Dr. Collins has been using Stimpod for the past 5 years. He sees 40 to 50 patients per day. So whatever's walking into your clinic, he's seen it multiple times and he's treated it. So we're treating multiple patients. Then first workshop was at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. He had, I think, somewhere 11, 12 people at the workshop. At the workshop, we start by going around the room. Who are you? And tell us a little bit about why you are here. You start hearing directly from these patients why they're here, what they're suffering with. Many times we hear the gabapentin story. Other times we hear that I'm super frustrated because I can't garden. I can't do the things that I love to do. And other people in the room chime in, go, yeah, you know what? I'm on gabapentin too. And yeah, I'm really frustrated that I can't go back out on the golf course the way that I used to. One by one, we bring them up, depending how many clinicians we have at the workshop. Sometimes we can do 3 or 4 people simultaneously. But with neuropathy, there's 2 nerve locations we're going to treat with Stimpod. One of them is right at the top of the fibular head, behind the knee. The moment we put the Stimpod at that common peroneal nerve, we typically see their foot start to dance. When we see their foot start to dance, we usually see their smile come on their face, because these are people, many of whom have not felt much of anything
Yeah.
in their feet in a long time. They have lost hope that anybody has any solution for them. When they see their foot start to do this and they feel that energy radiating down their leg, they just know that they are in the right place. So for 3 minutes, the patient, and this is an important thing to hear, the patient is holding the Stimpod. You guys will find the nerve location. You'll adjust the intensity. Then, whenever possible, we want the patient to hold the Stimpod. That's important for a couple of reasons. Number one, a lot of these nerves are the diameter of a hair, okay? Like a Geiger counter, when you're really right on the gold, it's blinking that much faster. So the patient knows even more than you do when they are spot on that nerve. Because if you had to sit there for 5 minutes holding the pen, hey, you can drift off a little bit. And sometimes, since you're the doctor, sometimes the patient doesn't say, hey, doc, you know what? You're not quite on the spot anymore. When the patient is in charge, they know when they're on the spot. And the reason that's so important, you can do the neuropathy treatment for these patients at home. So the way people do the neuropathy protocol, typically patient's going to come in, you're going to sell them a package. Patient's going to come in twice a week for 8 weeks to do the program in your office. But a fabulous alternative is the patient does it at home for 6 weeks. And typically, patient gets an even better outcome in 6 weeks at home than 8 weeks coming into your office. And let me tell you why that's so critical. Half of my clients, your clients, our clients, are in cold weather in the wintertime. So anybody that's suffering with neuropathy, they're already a fall risk. Imagine if they live in Chicago, or if they live in New York, or in Boston, or New Hampshire. 3 months, 4 months, 5 months out of the year, there's snow, there's ice. It's already tough for these people to get around. Now we're trying to get them to come into your office twice a week for 8 weeks in December and January. That can be a challenge for them. So the convenience factor of them being able to do this remarkable neuropathy protocol at home, bingo, sign me up. And from the patient perspective, they love it. From the clinic perspective, that just opened up 15 appointment slots that you can sell to somebody else, because this patient is doing their neuropathy protocol at home. And the only difference is in that very first appointment, when you locate that nerve, you take out a Sharpie and you draw a circle there. And when you locate the second nerve location, that's the posterior tib on their ankle, you draw a circle there. And if it's diabetic neuropathy, it's bilateral. So they're leaving there with 4 circles and one of your Stimpods, which is why most of the clinics start out with the 6-pack. And many of them call pretty quickly and say, I need more Stimpod.
What am I charging then for this? What's a patient typically? What are you seeing across the board? General rule. What are the typical fees that patients are willing to pay for your services, for your machine?
Yeah. So on average, most clinics are somewhere between $2,500 and $4,900 has been kind of the average for them. And it's interesting, most of them charge the same thing, whether they're doing the 8 weeks in the clinic or the 6 weeks at home. Obviously, the 6 weeks at home is that much more profitable for you, because one of the key things we hear from a lot of clinics, especially nowadays, is staffing issues. Hey, not only is it tough to find new staff, but I don't really want to bring in new staff at this point in time. Not only is it tough to keep staff, And so when you can strictly increase revenue without impacting staff, that's phenomenal to be able to do that. So I like to tell them, with Stimpod, you can pretty much net your gross when a patient is doing this at home because it's not taking staff time.
Yes. This is the holy grail for clinics now. The biggest expense and the biggest challenge for us in this community is payroll. It walks to the car at 9 o'clock, at 5 o'clock every night, and that's the challenge. Reimbursements are obviously dropping, payroll is going up, rent is going up. How do we become equally innovative and sort of clever with what we become and how we evolve, but at the same time continue to serve the pocket of people that need us? And I think what's so powerful with yours, I think, and I said this, I think anybody listening to this, you've got 2 or 3 years, and I said this to the clinics, you've got 2 or 3 years, nobody in your town, this is the person listening to this, nobody's doing this. You've probably got 2 or 3 years for you to just blue ocean, do whatever you're going to have all of the neuropathy patients or all of the patients that have been disgruntled or let down by other providers to get in on this. And in that respect, that's what we watch. We're watching just a constant stream of 30 people attending a workshop month after month after month, wanting to get this type of service because there's nobody else able to help them. So there isn't any marketing genius needed for this, right? Like, the reality is, and I say this to my team, like, yes, we've got to set it up and we've got to, have the right landing pages and everything. But the reality is, once we pick that pocket of people who are underserved and have been let down and are frustrated, and we talk to them and we get very specific about what this machine does, it's fantastic and phenomenal the way that people are arriving in workshops all across the country, east to west. In Britain, I need to mention, all across Britain, Ireland, up in Canada. This thing is fantastic. So we love it, and we're so pleased that we got to form a partnership. The medium that's required is an educational seminar and this is the specifics of it, an educational seminar for a specific pocket of people with neuropathy or diabetes, whatever we pick. There's multiple different things. Female health is another big one for this, I'm aware of, pelvic floor. We can run a workshop for 15 of these people to come in and learn about their condition and ultimately how Stimpod works, have a test or a trial while they're there, and then give them an opportunity to go away with the machine and either come in for 1 or 2 sessions in the clinic and then take it away themselves, or take it straight home for $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, however much you're going to sell it for, and probably tell everybody that they know who has got a similar condition how good this thing is. And that's what we're watching. So I think you're the closest thing that we've seen to there's very little that happens in business that happens overnight, right? Like, they're just, usually we have to grind these things out and build momentum and get word of mouth and reputation and authority. This is the closest thing I've seen to plug and play, where money comes into the bank very, very quickly. And countless stories from Ricky Morgan to Paul Hendricks to Ken Cheng to Jen Penrose to Jonathan. I could reel them off, like dozens and dozens of these clients. Jamie Murphy in Blackpool, Jade in my physio rooms who is using it. Like, this is taking over. So Stan, how do people get in touch, and what can they do to start that journey with you? I know you're going to be at PPM Live. You're going to have your own booth and your own stall. So if you do want to get face to face with Stan, you'll have an option at PPM Live in Orlando in October. He's there for the 2nd year. He's our primary sponsor. He takes over the show, and rightly so when we get there. But if they want to talk to you before that, what's the best route? What's the reason that they should call you?
Yeah, best, easiest way is stimpodusa.com if they're in the US, stimpoduk.com if they're over on the other side of the pond. You'll see some of the great stories from some of the clinic owners that we talked about. We've got a bunch more that literally we haven't had time to get them edited to put them up there, but you'll see a lot of straight from the mouth of these clinic owners whose clinics have changed as a result of bringing in Stimpod and doing these workshops. On the site, there's also a little revenue calculator that instantly lets you just type in a number. How many people do you think will be at your workshop? Use the slider, 15. What percentage of them do you think you'll close? 50. Yeah. How much are you going to charge for your protocol? You slide the number, you hit submit, it instantly comes back and does the math for you. And there's a link on there to my calendar, so you can actually talk, directly with me. I do a little Zoom just like this with them. I'll find out a little bit more about how big their clinic is or how small their clinic is. We do have a lot of your clients who are solo practitioners. Interesting story. We've used Ricky Morgan's name a few times here. Ricky, I met Ricky for the very first time. I forget if it was Orlando or where it was.
Probably Orlando. He was there last year. PPM. There'd been PPM
Yes.
Orlando last year.
And he was teaching. He had been teaching for 10 years. He had just opened up his clinic. He literally had 2 patients. That's it. 2 patients. He bought one Stimpod to start. I saw him then a few months later. I think it was down in Austin. He ordered 5 more Stimpods.
Yeah.
He has blown it up. He now hired 2 staff members.
Yeah.
So he went from literally 2 patients to now a staff of 3. It's been incredible. And so I like to figure out where somebody is. I set it up for your clients who are skeptical, and hey, I'm the most skeptical person in the world. I love that. I know this works. I put my money where my mouth is. Any of your clients, you know what? If you want, you can just start with one Stimpod. You can buy one Stimpod. I give you unconditional 90-day money back guarantee. And I know what happens. We train you over Zoom. You will be confident and competent in 30 minutes via Zoom. You'll start treating your patients. The very first day you start using Stimpod, you will be blown away when you see what happens. So I just want your people to try this. Then when they're ready, hey, they can get a 6-pack. We'll fly down to their clinic. When we do the workshop Friday, we schedule one workshop typically for 1 o'clock in the afternoon, do a second workshop at 6 o'clock at night, because there are some people who want to be there, but they work. And then now we're going, hey, let's do another one. Dr. Collins is staying over Friday night. Let's do another workshop 9 o'clock Saturday morning, because there are a lot of people that couldn't get there Friday afternoon or Friday evening. This gives them a third bite at the apple. And all I can tell you, it's been remarkable. And we've got, for most clinics, we can finance the 6-pack. So it's $0 down, no payments for 90 days, low monthly payments after that. I like to say, we're going to get you so much action that first workshop weekend. We want you to get that package paid off before your first payment even comes due. So that's, in a nutshell, we just want to get that word out there and talk to any of the clients who are using it now. They are overjoyed, because this is one of those things that really, really works, which is why I always tell them the best way to improve practice income is to improve patient outcome. This improves patient outcome.
Yeah, I love it. Are you doing a special session again at PPM? I think you'll probably be a breakout session, don't you?
We'll be doing hands-on training with Stimpod. We want everybody to come by. It just, as you know, it gets crazy at the shows. And so I am going to set up a special calendar for the show for somebody who wants to get it on their calendar so that they can reserve a time to be able to meet with us. And that way, you know, again, but at the end of the show, I always have to apologize to all the people. They came by, but there were a ton of people at the booth. We want everybody to feel it, because it's going to help your patients, which is also why my other little mantra is your patients will be grateful. Your CPA will be amazed.
I love it. It's just a thought on that as well for everybody listening. PPM is a 4-day event, and Stan's right, these things pack out. If you came, typically 25 people, I think, come on the pre-day with me, but you are around on the Thursday with me, aren't you? You'll be in my session on the Thursday, because we're talking about pre-days around the concept of teach and get rich, which is the topic of and you book. And Stan's going to be around on that Thursday, and I suspect if you came in on the Thursday for the pre-day, you'll get Stan all to yourself. So that might just be a little nudge and an extra reason to come and meet Stan the day ahead. The main event kicks off on the Friday. The 250 people rock up on the Friday through Sunday. We have a pre-day on the Thursday for 25 people. And it might be a good idea to arrange to meet Stan at the pre-day. So book a 4-day ticket if you come in for PPM Live. Go talk to him about how Stan and Stimpod team can help, and add this to your clinic. Get in on it while you can. It's been wonderful, and I don't like expletives, game changers and things, but it genuinely has been. Whether you're starting your business from scratch, people like Ricky Morgan, or whether you're an established and you've been stuck, somebody like Ken Cheng is using this as a let's grow and let's start getting out of insurance and let's add a lot more cash to our business. This is what the entrepreneurial community, if you're old, and what I mean by old as in old thinking and stuck in your ways, this is not for you. And candidly, like, what we're teaching isn't. But if you're forward thinking and you're a lot more sort of progressive in your desire to get out of just being a physio, more entrepreneurial, you want to grow a real business that isn't dependent upon you and isn't dependent, most importantly, on insurance companies, this is where you need to start thinking. Stan has brought this to market, and he's made it as easy as plug and play as it can get. So we've got the education for you on how to fill up your workshops and the marketing message and the positioning and the technology to get people there. Stan has got the money-making tool to offer when people are there, and that's why this is working. And it's been a privilege, it's been a pleasure, and I've had a lot of fun with Stan in various. Where have we been together, Stan? Dublin, London, Hartlepool,
London, Jersey.
More places you than my wife.
We have, yeah. And my other little, and I just thought of this one, and I'm going to start using this one. Hey, I think we've really struck a nerve.
We've stuck in it. There you go. This thing's getting on my nerves. The show. There we go. Amazing. Stan, fantastic. I'll put all the details. I've just put this out on Facebook as well. So Stan, go in on my Facebook, tag yourself in it, and you can share this out, and we'll get this to your audience as well. So thanks for listening. Podcast episode, I think this is number 600 and something. We've done a lot, and there's a hell of a lot more to come. Watch this space. The PG personal brand is firing back up, and there's a hell of a lot more of these types of calls and sessions and content to come your way in the next few weeks, months, and years. So next best place to see us and meet myself, meet Stan, is at PPM Live October 23 through 6, ppmlive25.com. We shall we'll see you there. Stan, thank you. You're amazing. We appreciate you, everything you do. Amazing.
Thanks, Paul. Say hi to everybody.
Thank you.